A room with very high ceilings that's light and bright and expansive is a wonderful room to be in. But one thing that can happen if the ceilings and the walls and the floor are all in a light color, it helps to accentuate the height of that room, but in a way it becomes too overwhelming. It becomes kind of off balance, and there isn't a sense of feeling grounded in the room while still at the same time enjoying the height of the room. One thing that we can look to kind of help change the balance in a room like this is to use the tool of visual weight to help us do that. And visual weight is just our perception of how heavy or light something looks to us. And we can adjust the visual weight of something or an area of a room by changing out texture and size. And also value, which just means how light or dark something is. And in general, when something or an area in a room is in a lighter value, is light and bright, it looks and feels to us as looking and being lighter, having lighter visual weight. But then if there's an area or an element in a room that is darker compared to that lighter area, then that has a heavier visual weight to it. It looks heavier to us compared to those lighter areas. So in a room like this one that has light floors and light walls and a light ceiling and very tall ceiling and walls, this is a nice and light and airy room. But in a way, it's almost as if we're kind of floating around the room. In fact, the piano and bench, they're in darker and deeper colors, but they almost seem to be floating on the floor. There isn't a sense of feeling calm and kind of grounded in this room. When we have a room like this, there are a number of different things we can try to kind of help bring a balance to the room. One area to look at, to try first, is to see if you can add more visual weight to the flooring in the room. And that just means adding a deeper or darker color to the flooring compared to the walls and the ceiling. The floor, just like the walls and the ceiling in a room, take up a lot of area, a lot of space in a room. So when we make a change on the floor, for example, we have the opportunity to create a bigger impact. So in this room, if we just deepen the color of the flooring just a bit, it helps to add more visual weight on the floor, which literally helps to kind of ground us in that room. In fact, that piano and bench now seem a little bit more connected to the floor. And that darker floor helps to create a calmer look and helps to kind of give us a grounded feeling in that space. And here is another room where we can kind of take a look at how we sense the visual weight in the room. And this is a room that I used as an example in my scale and proportion video. Currently, this room, like that other room I showed you, has light colored flooring. But if we just deepen that flooring just a bit, making it just a bit darker than the walls, well, we can get a sense that that room is a little bit more balanced and feels a little bit more grounded and stable. And here are some other examples of where if we have just a deeper color on the floor, we can create a more livable area down in that area of that room where we actually sit and stand and enjoy our rooms. See if you can notice the difference in visual weight in how heavy or light something looks in a room that has light floors and light walls and a light ceiling. And if we just change out that flooring to a deeper color, do you get the sense that maybe it feels a bit more grounded and stable? And if you're not able to change out the entire flooring to a deeper color, one thing you can try doing is looking for an area rug with a textural pattern or in a deeper color. And right away, when we place a rug like that in this room, for example, it helps to kind of ground everything a bit more. And say if you do change out the visual weight in your room and you add a darker color onto your flooring. Well, remember the big picture. So in our rooms, we always want to have a variety of different types or levels of visual weight. So if we have a room with darker floors, we want to think about other furnishings and other elements in the room so that we have some sort of balance. This room is a good example of that. It's a good place to start where we can see that the walls and ceiling and even the trim are in light colors, but then there is a darker color on the floors. And then in that living room furniture arrangement, there's even an area rug. And that creates a nice contrast between lighter visual weight areas and darker visual weight areas. And then with the furniture and other furnishings in the main conversation area, there's a balance between some lighter visual weight pieces and even heavier visual weight pieces. One thing I notice is that the sectional has kind of a bridge color, or maybe we could call it a bridge visual weight level. It's kind of in between the darker colors and the lighter colors. And so it creates a nice visual bridge to kind of help us tie everything together. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, size is also a way to create a certain amount of visual weight. So just because a sectional is a large piece of furniture, that's going to have more visual weight. It will have a heavier visual weight compared to maybe even a smaller sofa. So when we add on an upholstery fabric that's in a lighter color or even just a mid-tone color like the one we see, it helps to kind of lighten up that sectional, the visual weight of that sectional just a bit. But what's nice about this room is there seems to be a nice contrast, a nice variety of different types of visual weight, and the room looks and feels nice and tall and expansive, but at the same time feels grounded where we can sit and hang out by the fireplace. So if you have a room that is very tall and light and expansive, and you want to keep that look and feel, but you need to create some sense of groundedness in the room, one thing to try is to look to your floors and create a sense of more visual weight there just by making them a deeper color than the walls, or just by adding an area rug to help create a more grounded look. If you have any questions about this topic, please let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time when we discover more neat things about interior design. Take care.